Hello, my friends. It has been a month. I told you I didn't know if I'd be consistent or not, and I was actually quite leaning towards not being. As you can see, I'm still not on a camera. That's a main reason why I haven't filmed another video, because I thought I would have a microphone by now for my camera. I don't. But I also said in my last video, which was my January wrap-up, that I would hope that that would lead me to some kind of consistent schedule of posting at least a monthly. And we're sticking to that. So this is my February reading wrap-up. I read a total of 11 books, 12 kind of. I finished a book that I started in January, read 11 whole books. Still no 5-star read. Makes me a little bit nervous. Maybe it's me. It might be me. I think because I made that chart that I put in my last video, which I will include again. I think because I made that, I've been kind of like picky with giving anything higher than like 3 or 4 stars. When a year ago I would give like anything that entertained me 5 stars, which, whatever floats your boat. And honestly, I probably should have just kept doing that because everything would be 5 stars and I wouldn't be in this predicament. Anyway, let's get started. I think I mentioned in my last book that I had started Undeniably Convenient by J. Salmon. I really liked this book. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It was so good. It was so good. But then I read the second book and it was also so good. The second book was my second book of the month, which is Undeniably Forbidden. It was a 3-star. It wasn't as good, but it was a 3-star. I don't know if I ended up trying to read the third book right after I read the second book or later into the month, but I ended up DNFing it. I did not finish. I got probably 20-30% in. I felt like it was... This is kind of unfair to say because almost every book that I read is kind of predictable, but this one was like... It's called Undeniably Infatuated. I loved the idea of it. I had not read something like that. Again, like this was kind of like, oh my god, like a different kind of take on romance. No, I just did not like it. I think it moved too fast for me, and like 30% in, they were already like together and they were like enemies or like some kind of, I don't know, just didn't sit right with me. So I ended up not finishing it, so I didn't really count it because I didn't even read like half of the book. The third book I read, I'm so sad about. It was Zodiac Academy's second book. It's called Ruthless Fae. I think I ended up giving the first book 3 stars as well. If not 3, I definitely gave it 4. But I gave this one 3 stars. If I maybe could have given it 2.5. I want to like this series so bad. I want to like it with everything in me, and I just cannot sit with it. I can't get obsessed with it. I can't like get addicted to it the way everyone else does, which sucks because I've been wanting to read another series, specifically fantasy. I want to try that again, you know? And this isn't doing it for me. And everyone, I'm about to mute my entire timeline because I keep seeing Blue Lance everywhere. I cannot escape it, and it makes me like, I actually like feel physically like ill because everyone on book Twitter is reading it, and I can't get into it, but I want to love them so bad, and I do because I like Blue Lance. I want to see that relationship prosper with everything in me, but I can't get into it because the book, and the guys, I don't like bullying. Some of y'all do, and that's fine with me. I don't get into that. That takes up such a large part of it, I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, but to me it just distracts from like the positives. I'm like, oh, I want to read like a cute little romance, and like it's not that at all. Anyway, I even wrote in my review that I skimmed the last 12%, which is kind of a lie. I kind of like just stopped reading. I did skim a good chunk, but then like towards the end I was like, I don't care. I just started not caring. I then read The Stopover by T.L. Swan. Holy F word. I love this book. This was almost a 5-star for me. It was like 4.5. Oh my god. My friend Danny recommended it to me, and when she recommends me books, I get kind of nervous because she reads anything. And it made me a little bit hesitant to read it, but she recommended it to me, and the next day I like picked it up. Oh my god, I listened to it on audio because it was included in the Kindle Unlimited subscription. This was so good. This was actually everything I really needed it to be. After reading Zodiac Academy, I was like, oh my god, nothing will ever be good again. It was so good. I listened to it while I did like a diamond painting, which thank you, my sweet friends, for giving me one. Two, actually. So Tanner was listening to his book, doing a diamond painting, and I was doing a diamond painting, listening to mine. It was perfect. It was true love with wine. It was so good. Oh, and then right after I read it, I saw that this book is getting put into bookstores. My mind. Okay. I do not book shame people. I do not care what you read. I love that you're reading. I do not care what it is. To some extent. This is one of those things I love that you love it. I do not. Love that for you, not for me. I read Call Me Daddy by Jade West. Hear me out before you say anything. There were a few reviews and a few snippets of the book that I was like, oh my god, that seems kind of like deep. Like, that seems very like emotional. Like, maybe there's more to it. Maybe it's just a cheesy title. I read it in one night. To be fair, it's very short. It's very short. I read it in one night. I gave it 2 stars. The 2 stars are because I could see where y'all are coming from. It's just not for me. I was freaked out a few times. Felt very uncomfortable for a few times. I think I could have liked this if it was longer. If, like, the building of the characters is more in-depth. Does that make any sense? Like, if I knew more about this guy, I knew more about this girl, if I could if I could somehow, like, understand. But at the end of the day, I was just like, he's borderline a creep. And I don't want to offend people. I never want to offend people. But like, his daughter's room still being, like, his daughter's room. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you've read this book, do you see what I'm trying to say here? Like, it just, like, I can't get past that. I really cannot get past that. But I did write, not the worst book I've ever opened. And that's very true. It is not anywhere near the worst book I've read. So, 2 stars. Oh my god, this book was so close to being a 5-star read. The Do-Over by Lynn Painter. Oh my god. I loved this. I listened to the audiobook. I loved this book. This is my 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5th book by Lynn Painter I've read. And it's right there with, like, Better Than the Movies. Better Than Movies was a 5-star for me, but this was 4.5, and it was so freaking good. And I read it, like, near Valentine's Day, which is the plot of the book. She's reliving Valentine's Day. Guys, this was everything. And I'm so glad I listened to the audio. I usually don't, but this month was like, I think I listened to 3. You've gotta read this if you want a sweet romance book. It was like rom-com to the cutest extent. Okay, I then read The Takeover, which is the 2nd book in the Miles High Club T.L. Swan series. 2nd book after The Stopover. This was another 4-star. Oh, it was so good. I cannot explain to you how much I loved this series so far. I love these because I got emotional, and I like to read romance books where I feel emotional. I don't want to just read a book that's like fun the whole time, or like no heartbreak, or like no 3rd act breakup. I want at least 5 breakups during the book, or I want like turmoil. I want like, is this really happening? I want like tension and longing and crying, and maybe even a few years past. Like, I love that, and this was that for me. I probably will actually buy the physical books when they come out, because I can't believe they haven't. These are older books. They're not recent, I don't think, because there's like 5 or 6 of them. Anyway, okay, I finally finished the New York Billionaire series by Olivia Hale. I then, after The Takeover, read Sweet on the Boss. If you saw my previous wrap-up, I read the other books in the series. This was the final one. There is a Christmas novella after this that I'm probably going to save until Christmas time, because I feel content with where the story ends for everyone. I gave this 4 stars. I wrote that I think it might be my favorite, because I do think it was my favorite. It was so cute, and also like at times, so like I said, I love that. I eat that up. Really recommend it. I recommend Olivia Hale, just completely, as a whole. I then read The Secret Fiancé by Katharina Mara. This is the 5th book in the Windsor series. I started this series over a year ago, and I have eaten up every book, so much to the point where I've had to space out this series, because reading them back to back is kind of like, you know, so it's taken me a year or more to read 5 books in a series because of that. So this series, it focuses on these, of the grandchildren, and their last name is Windsors, and they all have arranged marriages set up for them by their grandmother. I don't usually gravitate towards that like trope, but that grandmother's got a brilliant mind. I really loved this book. I liked it because I could also like talk to my husband a little bit about it, because the characters are into like robots and AI and coding, engineer stuff, and my husband is a computer engineer, so I was like, oh my god, they're taking a signals and systems class, and he was like, I'm taking that. I was like, I know, look at us, reading just like brings us together. I really liked this book. I have mixed feelings on Lex a little bit. He kind of stressed me out, but I did cry at the end, so loved that. Next 2 books, oh my god, okay. I love Elizabeth O'Rourke. I started reading her about a year ago. I read the entire, like, I think it was like the Devil series or something like that. Some of the funniest books I've ever read. I was looking for actual comedy, because, you know, sometimes books are called rom-coms and there's almost neither. She's hilarious, actually. I wanted something different. After reading a lot of billionaires, like this whole month was just billionaire after billionaire, and I wanted to switch some things up, so I read a paranormal, or like a, not paranormal, maybe just like fantasy, but not really. I don't really actually know. As you can tell, I don't know anything I'm talking about. I read Parallel by Elizabeth O'Rourke. Oh my god, I have never read a parallel universe book before. I can't recommend this enough. It didn't feel like, I never got confused until the second book. I didn't feel confused. I felt it was easy to follow, but also like there was a lot of like thinking of like you kind of put yourself in their shoes because you kind of have no choice. It's dual point of view. This girl is a time traveler. She wasn't aware of this until she started having medical issues, and she went to go talk to some guy, and he was like, yeah, you're a time traveler. And she was like, BS, you're lying. And he was like, well, no, my wife was, and I haven't been able to see her because she's stuck in some other universe. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, it's a love story. It's basically, it was so good. Basically, they end up together in every lifetime. And that's so cute. I just can't recommend it enough. If you are wanting something that's just like, I don't know, if you like it's so different than like a regular like contemporary romance. Like this is like straight up like, oh my gosh, like are they gonna end up together? Is she okay? Is she gonna die? Because time traveling is very dangerous. I learned only women can be time travelers. Guys though can carry the gene or something, and they can have memories, but they can't have like the power to jump. There's so much to it. I feel so much smarter after reading it. Anyway, like I said though, I read Intersect, second book in the series. It actually keeps going and it follows like other characters, I believe. I don't know if I'll pick that up. This is where I got kind of confused because I was thinking logistically, like how does this actually work? I just felt like kind of confused, but that's not my business. It was a beautiful, beautiful story. I rated both 4 stars. I'm like, why didn't I give it a 5-star? Anyway, 4 stars. Last book that I read wasn't what I wanted it to be. I read a hockey romance because I eat those up, and I haven't read one in a minute, so I was like, let me read this one that is fairly new. It's called Slapshot by Chelsea Curdo. I read the second book in this series. I have not read the first still, Face Off. My friend Grace keeps telling me I need to read it, and she's right. But anyway, I'm pretty sure I gave Power Play, which is the second book, also 3 stars, like I did this one. My reason for 3 stars for this one is because it started off so strong. I actually was thinking like, we're already at like 4 stars halfway through the book. Like, this might be 5 stars depending on where it leads. And it ended up like tanking. I love the characters. I love the representation. I loved the trope. I love strangers to friends, lovers. I love that. And no one talks about it, but I love it. There was so much potential. There was just so much. And then it like got corny and cheesy and like fell flat. Not bad. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't great. Not too far into the book do they reference the Juno positions at the Sabrina Carpenter Short and Sweet tour, and that kind of struck me as odd. I am the type of person for sure that when they read like a romance book, I hate when they mention super trendy, popular things in the real world. It cheapens it for some reason for me. I don't know why, and I probably am wrong for thinking that way, but I'm reading this book because I don't want to feel like I'm in this world. I'm reading this book because I want to be in this one. Now I'm thinking of Sabrina Carpenter doing dirty positions on stage. Do you see what I'm saying? Like now, like I'm taken out. That was the last book of February for me. I ended up starting last night To Hate Adam Connor, Ella Mays. I did not read any physical books this month. This month was horrible, to say the least. There was a lot of traveling, a lot of like chaos. So picking up a physical book was difficult. There's nothing more convenient. It's just true. So all of these are on Kindle Unlimited. Please let me know if you've read, or if you think that you might read one of these. I'd love to hear your opinion on it. I want to talk about books all the time. I hope that you're doing well. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. I hope March is kind to you. February was not very kind to me. So praying for a better month. Love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.